Chicago Cubs have the day off, and Cubs fans, we're going to have some fun talking potential trades. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. What's going on, Chicago Cubs Central? It's your boy, Mike Jones, back again with another episode of Chicago Cubs Central. That's right. Please believe that this is your number one spot for all things Chicago Cubs. This is also your number one spot for the voice of the Chicago Cub fan. That's right. Let your voice be heard right here on this channel. Every day of the week, we are dropping content. We don't skip a day, no Monday, not weekends, not nothing. We constantly try to bring you the best quality content that we possibly can here at Chicago Cubs Central. And we appreciate each and every last one of you that are tuning in and watching. Please do us a favor, like, share, and subscribe to this network. Let's make it bigger than it ever can be. That's right. And we can do that only by the help of each and every last one of you. So with that being said, Chicago Cubs have an off day today. That's right. But I did forget something on the other episode. That's right. Whoop those Cardinals ass, and I forgot to fly to W. So you know me, guys. I got to come back and hit you with that fly to W. That's right. Whoop the St. Louis Cardinals ass 11-zip on in Sunday's matchup. So appreciate each and every last one of you for tuning into that episode. Now, with that being said, the Chicago Cubs do have an off day today. And so I wanted to talk with you guys seriously about what our expectations should be for the Chicago Cubs for the trade deadline. I want you to know that there are a lot of names and a lot of potential trade partners out there. Nobody is going to give up anybody that's worth something for cheap. And what I mean by that is I've seen the Chicago Cub fans go crazy talking about the fact that we lost the trade because we traded the trade for Kyle Tucker because we lost Cam Smith and because he's doing such a good job over for Houston at a ballpark that is a hitter-friendly ballpark, especially if you could pull the ball over to those porches. I need Chicago Cub fans to hear me out on this. The Chicago Cubs won that trade. You have a bona fide superstar in Kyle Tucker. Not a star, not a very good player, not just a good player. You have a superstar in Kyle Tucker. You have the likes of building up. If you sign Kyle Tucker and you keep and retain PCA, you have the next 10 years your outfield and whoever you decide to put. If Ian Happ decides to walk and go somewhere else, or if he decides to stay, I mean, he's a multiple time Gold Glover. You have your outfield set for years to come. Years to come. No worries, no concerns. The Chicago Cubs did not lose that trade for Kyle Tucker. And we really ought to stop saying that. And I see it on X. I see it everywhere. I mean, I guess I shouldn't tell you guys, you're fans, just like I'm a fan. You're able to say what you want to say. But I think it's asinine to say that the Chicago Cubs lost that trade or lost that deal just because Cam Smith maybe went crazy for 2 games. Kyle Tucker has consistently been an anchor for the Chicago Cubs. Consistently brought a better defense out there in right field, more consistent defense out there in right field. And his bat is amazing. So I don't get and understand why Cubs fans have this ire towards Kyle Tucker or these feelings towards Kyle Tucker, like, oh man, we should have kept Cam Smith. Oh man, like and Hayden Wesneski, are you kidding me? Hayden Wesneski will be lucky if he's even in the league next year. I'm not nowhere sweating what the Chicago Cubs did. They did the right thing. They had a chance to go get a superstar. And Jed bet on that superstar. And he's proven he's a superstar. He is an all-star right now. And like I said, he will have more than enough opportunities to prove himself in the second half of the season. And he definitely is going to have more time to prove himself once the playoffs start. So, and and maybe this is just all fan bases, but there's always going to be a select few that try to get a jump on the story or try to seem like they're, moving the needle with a post or something that they make by, making some type of asinine comment. And for me, I want you guys to understand something. The Chicago Cubs are going to have to part ways with some pieces that will become producers for other teams if the Chicago Cubs wish to vie for a World Series this year. It's not going to be, the Chicago Cubs are going to fleece these teams. Like I want to get your minds set around the fact that the Chicago Cubs are not going to be able to fleece teams because the Chicago Cubs have one of the best farm systems out there. I mean, the Chicago Cubs are struggling even right now to try to get freaking Mitch Keller from the Pirates because Mitch Keller is dealing and the Pirates' asking price continues to go up. I mean, this is the business of baseball. And for a young team like the Pirates, getting rid of somebody like Mitch Keller, they're going to want a Jackson Wiggins. They're going to want an Owen Casey. They're going to want somebody like that in return. So I guess I'm having this conversation with you before I get into who who are some other pieces that the Chicago Cubs could potentially look to add. Before we get to that, I just want to have an honest conversation with you, family, and talk to you guys and tell you guys that, be prepared. If the Chicago Cubs are going to do anything at the deadline, you're going to have to see some of those pieces go that you may not want to see go. You may have to see a young pitcher or two be traded. Ben Brown might be traded at this deadline. I mean, I know that, like I said, people want to see Owen Casey. I know people want to see Kevin Alcantara. I know people want to see, Moises Ballesteros and all these other pieces that Chicago Cubs have stay in the farm system and get called up. But that's just not how baseball works if you're trying to win. The Cubs have almost booked themselves into a corner because this team has performed so well. Right now, the Chicago Cubs sit atop the MLB, sit right below the Dodgers with a 54-36 record, with an opportunity to face a struggling Minnesota Twins team 3 times and then go to New York and play their old friend Cody Bellinger 3 times before the All-Star break. And the Chicago Cubs should win 4 out of those 6 games. That would put them at a 58-38 record heading into the All-Star break. One of the best records that they've had since probably their championship year. Might even be better. So you look at this Cubs team. Nobody is feeling sorry or going to have pity on this Cubs team and say, "Oh, well, they've been trying really hard and they've been having a good games or whatnot. So let's just go ahead and let's just take whatever pieces they want to give us." No, these teams are going to play hardball. Now, some might be wanting to give up salary cap dumps, but anybody that's worth having, that's actually going to thrive and mean something in the postseason for us, they're going to cost. They're going to cost. You are not going to be able to hold on to all your draft picks. You are not going to be able to hold on to all of your top pieces and expect to add valuable pieces on the other side of that. There's going to have to be some give and take there. And so what I want you guys to wrap your head around is the fact that players are going to be leaving here soon. There are going to be some Cubs prospects that you might not see anymore on this team after the trade deadline. Like I said, so when you look at this, you just have to remember that the Chicago Cubs are doing this because we've put the pressure on them to win a World Series? I asked the question on yesterday's episode, and I ask it again. Would you rather win a World Series this year, or would you rather have to wait and see what the Chicago Cubs become or what these prospects become? Number one prospect for the Chicago Cubs is Owen Casey. Number two prospect is Moises Ballesteros. Number three is Jefferson Rojas. Number four is Kevin Alcantara. Number five is James Triantos. Those are the top five prospects for the Chicago Cubs. And so, you look at this and you say to yourself, you're going to have to figure some things out. There are going to be teams that are going to want these players. You're not getting the Eugenio Suarez for, a number, 30 prospect. It's not how it works. They're going to want somebody out of our top five for somebody like Eugenio. They're going to actually want multiple, probably, for that third baseman. Now, I've mentioned Ryan McMahon on the live stream. Ryan McMahon out of the Colorado Rockies, But I mean, if you want to be honest, he's just might as well keep Matt Shaw or trade for Brian Hayes at that point, because they're all the same. They're very good defenders, not so great bats. Ryan McMahon has had very good seasons before, but his last two seasons have been crap. So you look at this and you understand that the Chicago Cubs are going to have to look at guys like Jonathan Long, guys like Jackson Wiggins, guys like Fernando Cruz, guys like Brandon Birdsell, and they're going to have to evaluate their talent. And then they're going to have to move on from some of them. And some of them you will see play either this year, later this year, or next year. And they will do very well. But that's part of the game. That's the part of the game I feel like fans fail to realize. Now, the money part and laughing or making fun of Ricketts for not wanting to spend money, I get y'all. I'm just as disgruntled as you. But the whole Cam Smith conversation and Kyle Tucker, I mean, what are we doing, guys? If we sign Kyle Tucker to a 10-year deal, what are we doing? What are we talking about? We just signed a perennial MVP candidate, a perennial all-star candidate, a guy that is going to carry this team if we sign him to an extension. Cam Smith would be lucky if he becomes half of what Kyle Tucker is right now. That's no diss to Cam. It's just Kyle Tucker's a very good baseball player. He's shown you that in multiple ways. So that's just to wrap our heads around things before we begin our talk here. So I want to start off with somebody that could be a little bit more attainable before I go to somebody that might not be so attainable. First and foremost, I was scouring around trying to look and see who the Chicago Cubs could potentially look to garner some interest in, or who could potentially come for a little bit cheaper than the next guy I'm going to mention. Pete Fairbanks is an American baseball relief pitcher, plays for the Tampa Bay Rays right now, 31 years old. He has an ERA of 2.34. He has 9 earned runs on the season. He's pitched in 35 games. This is a piece that you can add to your bullpen to solidify your bullpen. This is somebody with guys on base that will allow you to be able to get out of innings when you're in trouble, when it's a close game. And as you can see in the postseason, this matters. If your starter comes out and he's struggling in the postseason, this matters. You need guys that can come in and literally get you out of jams. Chris Flexen has already proven to you he can do that. Drew Pomeranz, outside of this last Cardinal game, really showed you what he can bring to the table. Adding another piece like Pete Fairbanks is somebody else that can come in and show you what they can do for you out of the bullpen. He may come a little bit cheaper than some of the other prospects or other pitching pieces. I'm sorry, not prospects, other pitching pieces that the Chicago Cubs may be looking at. just because of his team friendly deal. Um, and because he does have one more year of of arbitration. So, like I said, the Chicago Cubs do have to figure out what they want to do with somebody like Fairbanks, because he could be a great opportunity. Another person that we're looking at from the Pirates may be Andrew Heaney. He's an affordable option. He's on a 1 year deal, and again, he also has postseason experience. This one is pie in the sky. I highly doubt, especially with the way that the Brewers are playing right now. I mean, they're 4 games out from the Cubs. They have a wild card spot, but there's also been mention of potentially, if things should go south in the next 3 weeks of the month of July, maybe the Brewers might be willing to let go of Freddie Peralta. He is a potential target. Again, like I said, but I highly doubt the Brewers will be sellers. Now, again, you look at these pieces and you say to yourself, well, I mean, what would the Chicago Cubs have to give up for those pieces? I'm telling you, to expect 2 prospects to be gone and probably a young pitcher for any of those guys, because that's just what it is. But the last guy I want to talk to you guys about is the guy that I looked at, or somebody that I've started doing research on out of the Royals organization. The Kansas City Royals have been underwhelming this season. I've mentioned to you Seth Lugo. I also bring to you now Chris Bubich. And to me, Chris Bubich fits in perfectly with what Tommy Hotovy and the Chicago Cubs have been trying to do this season. Chris is a lefty. He's the Royals breakout star. He features a four-seam fastball, a changeup, a curve, a sweeper, a slider, and a sinker pitch out of his arsenal. Now, he failed as a starter his first go around. Then he got moved to the bullpen. Then he started seeing success in the bullpen. And so this year they brought him back to the starting rotation for the Royals. And the Royals have not, even though he's seen individual success, the Royals themselves have not seen success as a staff, as a team. So they could very well be sellers. Now, again, Chris Bubich is under team control via arbitration for 1 more year. So you could presume that the price for a player like Bubich will be steep. I'm talking about thinking multiple first round picks, very good prospects, plus one of the Cubs' young pitchers also. And again, like I said, he's going to be somebody that's going to be hot. But again, if the Cubs really want to compete, if the Cubs really want to show that they are serious about winning the World Series, this is what it's going to take. And again, this episode is about wrapping your mind around the fact that anybody the Cubs add is going to be tough on us. It's going to be tough on the organization. It's going to be tough. The pieces that they add, especially pieces with extra years in their contracts, they are not going to come cheap. They just aren't. And so anybody that's going to add to this World Series potential team, you're going to have to pay a hefty penny for them. And we got to wrap our minds around that. Chris Bubich, I think, will be a great addition. He's a front end guy. Could you imagine, Chris coming out and starting game 1 or game 2 of a playoff series? And then after that, you can either put Shota Imanaga in front or behind him. And then Matthew Boyd as your other. That's 3 lefties, though. So, I mean, you might look at throwing the Jameson Tyone in the middle there somewhere. But you look at this and you see the success the Chicago Cubs have had with lefty pitchers. And you say to yourself, I mean, Matthew Boyd has carved out quite a career for himself here with the Chicago Cubs. And he looks like the steal of the free agency last year with his ERA right now and the way he's dealing for the Chicago Cubs. So, I mean, like I said, these are pieces. These are things that the Chicago Cubs have to think about. What would you guys say would be a good starting pitcher? Who out of those starting pitchers do you think might be good? And do your homework on Chris Bubich. Go check out his stats. Go check out his highlights. Go check out different things. It's all on YouTube. That's where I did my research from. And again, let me know if Chris Bubich is somebody you think that could benefit from the Chicago Cubs. I know it is not ideal to have three lefties go back to back to back, let's say in a wild card series or in a a playoff series. But if they're good and they're dealing, do what you got to do. Do what you got to do. Postseason is a different animal, and the Chicago Cubs are about to find that out the hard way. Some of those guys already know. Dansby Swanson knows. Kyle Tucker knows. But a lot of these guys have not experienced playoff success. I think Ian Happ has played maybe in like a one playoff game. But this is just how it has to be. So, all right, guys. Well, that's my time for today. I appreciate each and every last one of you for tuning in to this episode. Please believe when news drops, we drop. So if any trade does happen, this will be your first place to come and hear exactly what the trade is, what the trade deal is. We'll probably go live with something, especially if it's a major trade. But yeah, man, appreciate each and every last one of you guys for tuning in to another episode of Chicago Cubs Central. Remember, you can like, share, and subscribe, but leave a voicemail to 217-816-5498. Let your voice be heard. Also, write me at cubsbaseball1992@gmail.com. The Chicago Cubs will begin a series against the Minnesota Twins. That is their next series. The Twins are 43 and 47. So like I said, the Chicago Cubs are looking to take care of business. Shota Imanaga will pitch on Tuesday. He has a 5-2 record versus Woods Richardson, who has a 4-4 record with a 4.41 ERA. Another opportunity for the Chicago Cubs to grab some more RBIs and grab some more wins. And then you got Cade Horton on Wednesday at 6:40 against David Festa, who is 2-3 with a 5.48 ERA. Meanwhile, Cade Horton has a 3-2 record with a 4.15 ERA. And then finally, last but not least, at 12:10 p.m., we got a matinee Thursday. Colin Ray, 6-3 record, going up with a 4.313 ERA, going up against Paddock, who has a 3-7 record with a 4.64 ERA. Looking for the Chicago Cubs to go ahead and sweep those Minnesota Twins. I know it's hard to do on the road, but this is a Twins team that's reeling. When you got a team on the ropes, you need to go knock them out. And I hope the Chicago Cubs are able to do so. Hope they are able to take advantage of a team that is reeling right now and send them into free agency. So that's my time, folks. I appreciate each and every last one of you. I might try to get a live call episode in maybe Wednesday. We'll see. I just have to figure out what's going on with my family. We got some things going on. Like I said, we're just preparing for my baby to come and everything like that. So, yeah, just like I said, just hold tight with me. There may be a live stream Wednesday. There may not. We'll just have to see what happens with that. But listen, I appreciate each and every last one of you for tuning in and for watching. Thanks so much for everything. Leave your comments below and name any pictures or things you want the Chicago Cubs to look at, pictures you think the Chicago Cubs should look at. I appreciate each and every last one of you. Until next time, go Cubs, go.
Thank you for watching another episode of Chicago Cubs Central, the #1 spot for all Chicago Cubs content. Remember to like, share, subscribe for more Cubs content.